Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's training on our 21-day booking procedures and travel fraud detection and prevention. My name is Mark Krebs. I am a leader with Team Sunset, part of Team Empire, Team World Explorer, and Team Rising Tide. I want to welcome you all tonight and thank you all very much for taking part of your day to spend with me on this very important topic for all of our agents, both old and new, if you're watching the recording of this video. This is a training that I have been doing for about the last year and a half or 2 years. Just a little bit about myself. I have been an agent with Archer and Evolution for the past 2.5 years, but I've been a travel agent for over 10 years. So I've got a lot of different knowledge and wisdom that I can provide to you guys throughout my different trainings that I do. But especially in this particular one, because I've come across many different fraudulent booking attempts in my own business that I have had to squash. And I pass that knowledge on to you guys so that you have the information and knowledge to be able to recognize and not fall for these scams that will come across your computers or your desks, and so that you don't fall for them and get yourselves into trouble. So that is why I teach this training. I try to do it quarterly, especially right around the holiday season, which is when we see an uptick in these fraudulent booking attempts. So people tend the fraudsters, the scammers try to prey on new agents who are vulnerable. They see a big booking and they're like, oh my gosh, this is huge. And they want to take advantage of that booking and get the big commission. And they leap before looking. Well, sometimes that booking is going to come back and bite them and bite that agent because it's going to actually be a fraudulent booking. And we're going to go over today Archer's 21-day booking procedures, which is when most of these types of bookings occur. And what I mean by 21-day booking procedures is that these booking attempts are going to take place within a 21-day period from date of booking to date of travel. And I'll show you an example of that on a calendar here in just a little while. So, and that is when most of these fraud attempts happen, because that is before the credit card statement of the person who had their credit card information stolen by these fraudsters and these thieves get the credit card statement showing that this fraudulent charge has occurred. So that is the biggest issue that we run into as travel agents. And that's why these procedures are in place, to protect not only you as the agent, but as the potential victim of the crime itself. So let's go ahead and begin our training right now. I have adapted this a little bit from Archer Travel's fraud protection and detection and prevention training and the 21-day booking procedures training. And the reason why I didn't create my own is because the information is directly from Archer. And this is the information that I wanted to present to everybody, because this is coming directly from our host agency. So this is what needs to be followed, the procedures that need to be followed. So I don't want to give my procedures because that's not what I follow. I follow exactly what Archer says for us to do. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I want to give you guys is just a tip of the day, or a couple of tips of the day. When you have clients that are traveling, make sure that you tell them to contact you immediately, whether it's via phone call, email, WhatsApp is a great option for your clients. If they're traveling internationally, they can contact you for free via text or call. when connected to Wi-Fi internationally. So that is a great app to download and to have your clients download so they can contact you internationally for free when connected to Wi-Fi. If anything is wrong, so they have the wrong room type, they get the wrong cabin on the ship, there's something wrong at the resort, etc. That way you can take care of it immediately with the supplier. Okay, because we want to make sure that our clients are fully taken care of from start to finish. And that is what's going to keep them coming back to using your services. Second tip is to make sure that you get the names of any customer service representative or guest service representative that you are speaking with, whether it is with the cruise line, a supplier, another vendor. Make sure you get their name and write it down and make notes of the conversation that you have with them. That way you can go back in case you or Archer, your platinum, needs to contact our supplier business development managers or our BDMs on your behalf to get an issue escalated and fixed so that you can provide this information to them. Well, so-and-so said this, so that corrective action can be taken if necessary. Finally, and this is what I am doing right now, and those of you who are team building, Brandon, I don't know if you are, I can't remember, but those of you who have been here for a while, if you are team building, have your own teams, you're mentoring, make sure to advise your new agents on the 21-day booking procedures or send them a link to my video. Okay, you can find it on my YouTube channel, just at youtube.com/@72 and sunnytravel.com. Brandon, you're going to be teaching dancing soon. That's awesome. I love that. Congratulations, man. But advise your new agents on the 21-day booking procedures if you guys are becoming mentors. And if you hear of anybody in your team chats who are confused about the 21-day booking procedures, send them to their mentors, send them to your platinums. They have all of this information. So let's go ahead and talk about the 21-day regulations first from Archer Travel and where you guys can find them. All of the 21-day regulation booking requirements and regulations are in your travel cafe at travelcafe.archertravel.com. And you do not have to be signed into your back office to access this. You just have to go to travelcafe.archertravel.com to access it. And you just go to booking within 21 days of travel on the left-hand side. Okay? The reason why we're doing this training is, one, to clear up any misunderstandings about it. Number two, to make the process easier for agents. Number three, to make it faster to use for agents. And number four, to prevent travel fraud from even happening. Agent, be aware. Okay? So we want you to be aware of every single booking that you guys have, but especially during this 21-day booking procedure. Okay? Now, what is 21 days? What does that mean? And I know this is an old calendar, but like I said, I'm taking an old training from Archer, and the last one they did was back in the summer. But this will give you an example. So you take 21 days from the calendar, okay, on the calendar. So in the example here, 21 days from the 8th of June to the 28th of June. This is 21 days. So if your client, say, books the trip here on the 10th and is traveling on the 19th, that is within the 21 days. Okay? Anytime in this shaded area So within 21 calendar days, including the day of booking, is within the 21-day period. Does that make sense? And feel free to unmute yourselves, guys, if you have questions. Okay, so make sure to look at your calendar when you have a client that is looking to book. So today is the 17th. If somebody wanted to travel on the 28th, that would be 11 days. And so it falls into the 21-day booking procedures. Okay. Now, this does not apply to all vendors. This only applies to these 12 vendors and suppliers. We use vendor and supplier interchangeably. Okay. These 12 suppliers, and many of these, half of these are in VAX. Okay, so 6 of these are within one supplier. So if you are booking within or with Apple Vacations, American Airline Vacations, which is a standalone, AM Resort Collection, standalone, Beds Online, standalone, Blue Sky, which is in VAX, FunJet in VAX, Pleasant Holidays, and Ski.com, which are both standalone, Southwest Vacations, Travel Impressions, and United Vacations, which are all on VAX, and World Agent Direct, Delta Vacations, which is a standalone. Okay, if you are booking with any of these 12, okay, any of these 12 here, the 21-day booking procedures apply. Okay, so you have to follow the 21-day booking procedures, and we're going to talk about those here in just a minute. This is how to fill out the credit card authorization form. And this is all found in your Forms tab in your Travel Cafe as well, under a USA credit card authorization form. Okay, so you are going to fill out this top part here, the independent contractor name or the name of your business. You must fill out your business address. This is required. Okay. This is the only time that your address is required to be on anything that your client sees. And the reason for that is because if there is a dispute or anything or a fraudulent charge that needs to go to the credit card company by way of Archer, they need to see that you are working from a physical location. Okay. You are going to fill out your city, state, and zip code, your telephone number, and your address, the client's name, your name where it says independent contractor, the guest name, and this is going to be the client's name or the name of the person traveling, what type of trip it is, and the supplier name. So Apple Vacations, Southwest Vacations, Delta Airlines, etc. The confirmation number or the booking number. So those are used interchangeably. The departure date and the return date. That is all that you are required to fill out on the form. Okay? Now, your client is going to fill out the rest of the information on the form. And then they are going to sign it. They must actually sign it. They cannot just type their name. Okay? So they can sign it with their finger, they can sign it with a stylus, or they can download it, print it, sign it, scan it, send it back to you. Yep, that's not good, David. And back in 2016, these fraud detection and prevention procedures were not as strong. So you must provide Archer Travel with proper documentation from the client and the supplier to be covered. Okay. What that proper documentation is, especially in the 21-day bookings, is a copy of the booking with the booking number, the copy of the credit card authorization form, the copy of the credit card holder's ID, so passport or driver's license or ID card, and the copy of their credit card with the first 12 numbers blacked out, or 11 if it's an American Express card. Okay, so let me repeat that part. You have to send Archer a copy of the client's credit card with the first 12 numbers blacked out, or 11 if it's an American Express card. Okay, you must also keep the credit card authorization form and these copies of the ID and the credit card on file for 6 months post travel. Okay, so you must keep it 6 months past the return date. This is our credit card authorization form. Okay, it looks a little bit different now, but you can find this in Travel Cafe under forms and then credit card authorization form. Okay, but this is the gist of it. Okay, does anybody have any questions about the 21-day booking procedures? So if the supplier that you are using is not one of those 12 suppliers listed, you do not have to follow the 21-day booking procedures of sending all that information to 21-day bookings at archertravel.com. Are there any questions about that? Okay. So let's move on to talking about what travel fraud is. Travel fraud are schemes for making money by deceptive, dishonest, or fraudulent means. Examples of travel fraud are that victims are told by email that they have won a free or an incredibly cheap trip. However, these trips often have hidden costs. Tours that are advertised as free may not add airfare to the departure point or the hotel accommodation. The recipient of the quote free trip is required to make these extra reservations through a specific company. In these instances, the costs are much higher than market price. Okay, so that is just one example. And I'm going to give you guys some real life examples of what travel fraud is. Another example of travel fraud are called chargebacks. Online shoppers can deliberately abuse the chargeback process to get something for free. How this happens in the travel industry is that hotel bookings and airline ticketing chargebacks are rampant, and they can affect travel intermediaries as well. For example, a customer purchases an expensive vacation package through a travel agency, but even one aspect of the experience can make them demand a chargeback on the entire vacation, which would mean that they would demand a refund or place a chargeback on the entire amount of the vacation, thus getting the vacation essentially for free, the entire trip, flights, everything. Okay, that's a type of fraud. Internet and travel agent fraud. Fraudsters do prey on travel agents, new agents, and especially those who have their guard down because they're trying to book at the last minute. Travel agents are especially at risk with big ticket items like lavish vacation packages, which combine air and hotel. An example of this would be somebody who wanted to book 3 penthouse suites at Atlantis and book 10 first class air tickets from LAX to Nassau and high-end private transfer services. Okay, that could easily add up to $60,000, $70,000. And they want to go in a week. Right there is a huge red flag for a potential fraudulent booking. Huge. That should raise alarm bells for anyone, not just somebody in the travel industry, in my opinion. Some other examples of travel fraud. You get a Facebook inquiry, but you live from Seattle, but you live in Detroit, and you don't know the person. The person that you're communicating with only wants to use email. David was just talking about this. And they never want to call you. You can always check the time and origin of the email. The booking seems too good to be true. So that $60,000 or $70,000 lavish trip. Here is a big example of it. They will not and flat out refuse to fill out our credit card authorization form. Okay? They just won't. They ask you why. And then you give them the reason. Well, it is for your protection and ours, which is the exact response you should be giving them. And they flat out won't refuse it. Will refuse to book it. That is an example of fraud right there. They're in a hurry to book. They need to travel tonight, tomorrow, or the next day. There are some business people that, yes, they need to travel that quickly. Do business with them if you know them personally, or if you know the company and it's reputable and you have a rapport with them. But if it's somebody you off the street or off the internet, don't do business with them. Here's some ways that you can prevent travel fraud, guys. Be very careful of who you're working with. Okay? If you don't know them, be wary. Don't waste your time with international inquiries unless you know the person. Be suspicious of all inquiries that you don't know from other states and areas. Now, if you have your cousin in New Hampshire saying to you, and you live in Arizona, that they've got friends that are going to be contacting you for a trip, and you know those friends are on their Facebook page and you know that they've known each other for 20 years, that's fine. But if you've got people from Virginia that you don't know and you live in Arizona contacting you, be suspicious of it. Always, always, always fill out the credit card authorization form. Not only is it required by Archer, it is to protect you and your client from fraud. Another way to weed out these fraudsters, guys, charge a booking fee. I'll give you some examples of that here in just a little while, and of how that is going to stop the fraudsters in their tracks. Make sure to be able to connect with your client via phone. Okay? Always connect with your client via the phone. Always fill out the Archer credit card authorization form. Get a copy of your client's ID. Check any and all referrals, Facebook inquiries, and family referrals if you need to, unless you know that person. And when you are in doubt, contact your upline. So contact your gold, contact your platinum. If you're still in doubt, contact Archer. Okay. Contact Archer. They are here to help us, guys. That's what they do. Jose and Susie can sniff out fraud in a heartbeat. And I'm going to show you some examples of fraudulent documents that Susie sniffed out right away a few years ago, and they use them as examples for us. Again, if something doesn't feel right about the client, contact your upline and contact Archer. So here are some examples of fraudulent documents. Take a look at the two pictures. Picture on the left has a signature of Amber. Okay, but take a look at the picture on the right, guys. What is wrong with it? It's a guy, John Connolly, but it's signed with a woman's name. Fraud example number one. Fraud example number two. If you look at your own US passport, the seal on the upper left-hand side of the second page of the passport is incorrect. Number three, Susie sniffed this one out. The spacing on the coding on the bottom of the passport is incorrect. So 3 signs of fraud right there. So on the seal on the passport, you can see that the USA seal is off center, and that is not correct. Here's another example. This is a fraudulent credit card. Okay. Example number one. Just at the very front of the card, the Visa logo is incorrect. Okay. On the back of the card, number two, the card is signed again by Amber. Number three, the Visa logo does not appear on the back of the cards. So that is incorrect. That is a fraudulent card. And number four, I can see at the very top where it says authorized, it should be a Z instead of an S, unless it came from a Chase bank in the UK. Again, when in doubt, take pictures, send them to your upline, send them to Archer, and they will work with you. Here are some examples of emails that were actually sent to Archer. Hello, I would like you to book me a flight ticket from New York to Toronto with the details below. First name, last name, New York, Toronto to New York, departure date, June 14th, return date, June 26th, in economy class with any available airline. Please send an itinerary and fares, then we will deliver the payment. Okay? This was sent, I believe Jose said, on the 10th of June. So it came unsolicited. It was, and within 4 days. So that was considered, and it came from a different email address, no name on this, came from a no reply email address. So though that was definitely fraudulent. The next example, dear sir, question mark, madam, hope you are very well. Please send me quotation for these trips as below. Paris, Casablanca, Paris. Departure date 6/8/2024. I'm sorry, Europe puts their dates backwards. Return date 6/29/2024. Economic class. Second trip, Dakar, Casablanca, Dakar. 5/27/2024, 6/22/2024. Here's one of the biggest fraud posts and warning signs that I would say. Could you confirm to me that you accept remote bank card payments via POS machines, provided that they belong to the International Visa, MasterCard, or American Express circuit? Okay. We run everything through the internet, just like everybody else does. So with them wanting to run it via a POS machine, a point of sale machine, says to me that it's a fraudulent attempt. Bontaz Football Academy, that sounds like a soccer club. I've never heard of them, but somehow Jose did some research on them and found that this was fraudulent. To me, the remote bank card payments via POS machines, to me, that would be a huge red flag, and I would deny. So that's example number 2. Here is what you guys should be looking for in an actual email. This actually came to me, okay, and Jose used this for me. This came to me last year. The from is okay. The to, but here's the thing. He sent it to himself and then blind carbon copied me, so I wouldn't see who else he sent it to. Okay? So the to line is not to me. I need a quote for a trip departing from Lagos to Toronto on the 15th of November and returning on the 30th of November, 2023. And for one adult, including one room at any 3-star hotel for the first 2 nights in Toronto. Flight should be in economy class. Kindly forward your findings, itineraries, and fares to me as soon as possible, and advise the type of credit card company or credit card your company accepts as payment. I look forward to your reply. Kindest regards, Adam Kane. Okay. Here's point number 1. The fact that he blind carbon copied me and it didn't go directly to me. Okay, so it went right back to him, but it still came to my email. Number 2, the date it was sent was Sunday, November 12th, and he wants to depart on the 15th of November. Okay, so that's fraud flag number 2. Fraud flag number 3 to me was he's going for 15 days, but he only wants 2 nights in Toronto. So here's my reply to him. Good evening, Adam. Before I start working on this quote, I will require a $100 research fee up front due to the urgency of this trip, payable to me by Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover. I will also need you to sign my credit card authorization form for that transaction and attach a copy of the front and back of the credit card being used, clearly showing the name and the first 2 pages of your passport as well, so that I have these documents to work from when booking this trip for you. When I book this trip, I will require a 10% service fee in addition to the price of the trip for the work that I will be doing on this trip for you. Please forward this information to me ASAP if these terms are acceptable. Jose got all excited about this during the training for the winter fraud prevention and detection training, because he's like, yes, Mark, pile on the fees. Okay? Just pile on the fees to this guy, because this is how I felt him out. Number one, the $100 research fee. Okay, and I normally only charge a $50 research fee for international trips. But because I felt this was a fraudulent booking, I said 100. Number two, I always charge a 10% service fee anyway. So I hit him with that as well. But notice, guys, what I did was I required him to fill out and sign the credit card authorization form for that transaction, send a copy of the front and back of the credit card being used, and the first 2 pages of his passport. So I required all of that documentation even before I started work on the trip. Long story short, he never sent it, aka fraudulent booking attempt. Okay? David, I agree with you. Fraud flag number 4 to me is them knowing the airport codes. The thing is, they can look up airport codes on Google. This email also came to me. Dear flight agent, my name is Joel, and I'm the owner of Wozniak Interior Design. I've been in Accra, Ghana for the past 14 days on holiday, and I'm interested in purchasing tickets for myself and 3 friends to Johannesburg. We'd like to depart from Accra Kotoka International Airport, ACC, on 26th of November and return to Accra Kotoka from Johannesburg or Tambo International Airport, JNB, on 9th December. We have already booked a flight back to the US from Accra after this. In addition, we would also like to book a hotel for 10 days in the Johannesburg area with 2 rooms and 2 double beds per room, preferably a Hilton or Marriott near the airport. I'd be grateful if you could email me a grand total plus cost plus taxes and booking fees so that we can proceed with payment in order for you to book the package for us. Thank you for your help. Sincerely, Joel. Okay, a little bit different on this one. Red flag number 1. Once again, sent Tuesday, November 21st. They want to leave on the 26th. No big deal. Well, again, big deal, 5 days. Number 2, sent. Look at the 2, Bryant. 2 name. He's testing more agents. dbryant@dreamvacations.com. But this came to me. Okay, so again, it's a blind carbon copy. Email to as many agents as he could get. Number 3, why wouldn't he have booked if he had already planned on going to the country on holiday? First of all, who says on holiday if they're from the US? Second of all, if they have already been there for 14 days, wouldn't they have pre-planned the trip to Johannesburg in the trip initially when they were in Ghana? So why do this on a spur of the moment thing? Fourth, the timing doesn't seem right from the 26th of November to the 9th of December. The timing is not right. If you do the math, 10 days. Okay, 26th to the 9th, is 13 days, if my math is right. 14 days, something like that. So there's another fraud red flag. So those are some examples of fraudulent emails that I got. You guys may get messages like this on your Facebook business pages, as well, or other social media accounts that you guys have. So just be on the lookout for them. Does anybody have any questions at this point? And again, please feel free to unmute so that others watching the recording can hear them, in case they have similar questions. Nothing? All right. The bottom line, guys, is make sure that you are aware of who you are working with. And if you have questions, contact your upline. Contact Archer if you have questions. Contact me, guys, if you have questions. I've been doing this for a while. I can sniff something out. If you need to. So if it's a weekend and you can't get a hold of your upline, feel free to contact me. My contact information will be in the description of this video. Which again will be posted on my YouTube. Just search for at 72 and Sunny Travel. That's where you will find all of my YouTube videos, and I'll put it into the chat as well. Let me just do that here quick. There's my YouTube link for everybody. But again, like I said, if you guys have questions, contact your upline. So your gold, your platinum agent, contact Jose and Susie at Archer. There is the email address for Evo Customer Care or for Archer Customer Service. You can either email them or you can email Jose directly or call the office and ask for him or Susie. They will be more than happy to answer your questions, guys. Or again, I will put my contact information into the description of this video for those of you who are watching on YouTube. Those of you who are watching it live, just hang in there for a couple of minutes. I hope you found this video informative today. And again, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. My name is Mark Krebs. Again, I'm a gold qualified consultant with Team Sunset, one of the team leaders for Team Sunset, part of Team Empire, Team World Explorer, and Team Rising Tide. Thank you all very much for your time tonight, and have a great rest of your evening.